Welcome to another edition of Rapport with the St. Kitts National Men's Council. It's a joy and an honor for us to be here once again to have another discussion with you, to share with you. There are many issues that are affecting our society. One of the issues that is affecting our society today is the matter of obesity. It's a major public health issue in St. Kitts, we are told, and Nevis as well, with an adult obesity rate estimated at around 25 to 30% and overweight prevalence exceeding 60%. The country is considered off course, to be honest, considered to be off track, off course in meeting the global nutrition targets, particularly for maternal and child health. Obesity is commonly defined as having too much body fat. If you have a body mass index of 30 or higher, a BMI of 30 or higher, we're told, is the usual benchmark for obesity in adults. Obesity increases the risk of serious medical conditions, and we can talk about some of those things in our discussion tonight. And there are treatments, and which would include changing what you eat, adding activity and mental health support, exercising and all of that. There are different things, remedies or solutions that can be used to treat this vexing issue of obesity. Tonight in our discussion, I'm joined by my colleagues, member to my immediate right, our President Philip Mills, and of course, the indomitable member Agard, Melvin Agard. We all know him, and I'm sure that he has a lot to share tonight. So I'd like to welcome you guys. I'd like to welcome our panel tonight, and I want to say thanks for coming. Now, this matter, this statistics, when we think of the obesity in St. Kitts, because the topic says St. Kitts, but I'd like to include Nevis as well. St. Kitts and Nevis. We have a situation here. When you walk around, you see a lot of people having a lot of body mass, but body fat. Some some people like to say they like to see girls looking plump and looking lush, juicy and sweet. But we are told that this is a problem, because it's not just about having a lot of body fat on you, that, and looking nice and round up and so on. That could have potential consequences later on. Adult obesity, or being overweight. Over 60% of adults, we are told, the statistics are telling us, are overweight. Women, and in terms of gender, women show slightly higher obesity rates than men, while men have higher overweight prevalence. When it comes to children, child and adolescent obesity, childhood obesity prevalence is around 10 to 15% of children. And when it comes to the overweight prevalence among children, approximately 25 to 30% are obese. These are rising rates linking to increased consumption of sugary drinks and fast foods, coupled with insufficient physical activity. I would like you guys now to weigh in on some of these issues that I've raised.
Well, first thing is we got to start from the very top. The topic is obesity, and most of the world now, well, I shouldn't say most, but at least here in St. Kitts and wider regional area, there's the use of the BMI as the standardized measuring way to say whether you're obese or not. And it is really not a good way to measure that, because it does not deal with
Body mass index.
right. It does not deal with muscle bone. It does not deal with bone density. It does not know the difference between fat mass or muscle mass, because there's muscle mass and there's fat mass. So one person could be broad, like two people broader, like one have fat mass, one have muscle mass, but two of them, according to the BMI, would be obese, which is not so. So I don't remember the name of this caliper thing that they used to use, but when I was going to school, when I used to go to school, and we go to the clinic, they would actually put this caliper on your skin and measure the fat in your skin. And they have different parts of your body that they would test for that. So they have an idea that you have too much fat on your body. So I just want to just put it out there that this BMI story that the doctors them, and sometimes they have the Ministry of Health out there doing checks and so on, and they use that BMI, which really makes no sense, is kind of nonsensical to the least, and we just work with that. We always work with a lot of stupid things, and we just move through society like this is okay. So that BMI, that body mass index story, it does not really show the true picture of when we talk about obesity. So there's a lot of like I mentioned, bone density, fat mass, muscle mass, all this have to be considered when you're talking about obesity.
Does it have to do anything with your height and?
No, but that's what the BMI is all about.
Oh,
That's what the BMI is all about. Your height and your weight, which makes no sense. This was introduced by a mathematician, the whole idea of the BMI, the body mass index. It was not introduced by a health professional. I don't know how we reached to this. I don't know how we reached to this point that it is now a standardized way to measure people fat and talk about obesity. So I just want to put that out so that from there on we could have that to work with as we work the conversation.
So based on what you're saying, then there will be some persons whom the reading, the BMI, the statistics would say, but these persons are obese. Actually, in your view, would not be obese. You would not classify them as having too much body fat.
Well, how did you define obese a while ago?
It's
Just so we
commonly defined as having too much body fat.
Okay, right. So that can't be so, because if I am 200 pounds and you put that fat measuring device on my skin and I'm lean, there's no fat content. But then at the same time, because I'm 200 pounds and say 5'7", I'm considered to be obese. So you understand how that is nonsensical. But at the same time, why would you think that people who ain't gonna study for 6, 7, 8 years and so come back as doctors using that measurement?
Why you would think that?
I'm charging you. I'm still charging you to do that stupidest thing. You know? So do you think that they don't know this? But so these are people who play on people ignorance. They know that the general public don't know these things. So they just roll with it and then telling people that they're obese. Okay, so if somebody look kind of fat to them and they want to tell them do some exercise, they're going to tell them, well, you know, you're this, you're that, and then you're obese.
I tell you. Well, President Mills, what do you have to say to that? You wait.
Well, I'll see if I can find the name of the thing that they use.
My first concern is defining obesity, and we know that genetics play a role in how much weight we carry. Now, genetics is one factor. We know that lack of activity, the food you eat, how active you are in maybe just your lifestyle, or you go to the gym after school or whatever. So that the one thing that you cannot change is the genetics.
Mm.
And we know that about 50% of this population of St. Kitts, or in general, they do have a propensity to be fat, even without the things that we mentioned that promote obesity. If you look a little beyond St. Kitts, let's take a population in Japan. Now, Japan, in general, they're basically well-being in what they eat. They eat fish. Meat is more expensive, so they tend to use a lot of fish. But you look at the general population, and you still get that that level of probably about 50% of people who are obese. You look at the opposite end, let's say like in Germany. Germany likes a lot of pork, and here again you see again that 50% almost in the population, that some are what we consider obese and some are not. The thing again is again talking about the BMI. I mean, if you take somebody who lifts weight, he's gonna be bulky.
Exactly.
But you'll be able to distinguish a bulky person who's who works out than a person who is just fat. I mean that classify loosely as being fat. So we have to we're gonna have to make a decision as to how we define them. I mean, even you go, like you said, you go to a doctor, and he weighs twice as much as you are, and but then he's going to be telling you to take a BMR. You're always going to tell you to eat better, and this kind of thing. So and I had the same problem with I know my doctor was much bigger than I was, and he's telling you, well, hey, I never really had too much fat for anything, but I mean the same percentage of the people that see him, I mean, especially to get older, because again, let's understand that you could be a very athletic person in your early age, teenage, 20s and 30s, but we know after you get maybe like 60, 70 and up, that your activity has to decrease. You can't expect you're gonna have that same kind of energy and maybe sometime time to go to the gym or be doing something active that's gonna keep you fairly petite. So that is gonna be gonna raise in terms of the general population people who are obese. But then you see school children who are, I mean, some of them haven't even been reached teenage status, and they're bulky.
Yeah.
And these are the ones who, even when the school has gym, they're the ones that are going to be hee-hawing about the exercises, which of course they're the ones that really really need it. And so you see, they are already on that kind of at that age. You're gonna have that propensity to, okay, I'm gonna get tired. I don't like gym. I don't like this. I don't like that. Plus, you know that inactivity generally increases food intake.
Yep.
And so we've got already two. I mean, as young people, again, even preteens who are already have that disposition to eat and no exercise, and the chances are that they won't lose that weight because they've started early, and they're gonna realize that, hey, this is the only thing that's gonna keep me well, not alive, but at least keep me going or make me feel happy. So I'm gonna stick with it.
Yeah.
Therefore, there's gotta be something else, and they get comfortable with it. Once they get comfortable with that, they don't want to change. We know now that even with dresses, but sizes that normal people don't usually wear, they got to be increased. I mean, women's sizes, men's sizes. I mean, you see that the sizes are increased even for children, and which of course way back when that wasn't the case. You either wear children clothes or you wear grown-up clothes. But again, because and the industry understands this, so they make bigger clothes for younger people. And I don't know if you can blame them for being again, maybe it's just perpetuated the lack of exercise or the lack of eating better,
Mm.
and so I'm gonna continue. But again, coming to the middle point is about 50% of the general population is going to be obese, and no matter how good, well, how nutritious
Mhm.
food you eat, let's say you cut back on all the
Mhm.
so-called fatty foods
Mhm.
or things like that, and you're gonna have that propensity to gain weight. I mean, generally, you used to
Yeah.
see, again, like you said, the younger people fine. As soon as you
Mhm.
get older, of course, your activity decreases. You
Mhm.
tend to eat more. You use less energy, so you'll put on a couple more pounds. So
So,
that's
but
good.
so when you look at Saint Kitts
Mhm.
in particular, is it cause for concern?
Yes, and one of the thing is, even though Sinkits produces so-called healthy foods, ground provisions, we've got vegetables, we have fruits, but it's not generally enough to suffice or to support the well-being of a population. Therefore, you're going to have the at least 50% or more of foods that are being um, imported, and these sometimes cause a lot of problems. I mean, even though they are um, officially sold in a store, I mean they're doing you damage
Yeah.
in your body, and these are things that even though the doctor might prescribe them, he might prescribe them for a particular problem that you have, but the opposite side
Mhm.
of that is some of those could make you increase weight, some of those increase your
Mhm.
appetite, and you eat more. So it's one of those things that you have to take in mind that it's, I won't say it's a fact, but at least it's if you look at it genetically,
Mhm.
we almost stuck to that.
Mhm. We remember, Egad, you talk about the BMI. President Mills talk about the BMI and other factors, and you look at, but what it is that really, because if you're not prescribing to the BMI, you what it is that really qualifies someone as obese, you know. Somebody may say, well, yeah, but here we talk about bone thing and so on. So who can I rely, who can I trust? If my doctor says I'm this, I'm obese, I'm not obese, but when I go to the office, people around me tell me I need to lose weight. How can you, whose word do you take, and how do you balance it off?
Well, that's why education is so important, because I don't think there's any reason to be ignorant to certain things. But when I say that, because if you go to the court, I don't think you could get by in any case because you're ignorant to the law. So if you go to the doctor, there's certain things you just should not be ignorant to, because the idea of BMI and the way they deal with it, and the device name is Skinfold Caliper,
Mm-hmm.
and they have other ways that the other machine actually that can measure the fat in your body. They don't use that because the BMI costs nothing. It costs nothing to pull a rule and have you stand on a scale,
Mm-hmm.
but a machine to measure your whole body and so on costs. So it's easier to just pull a rule, pull a tape line, and put you on a scale and tell you you're obese or you're not obese,
Mm-hmm.
than to really give you a good um a good diagnosis, a good, analyze the situation good for you, so that you'll know, well, I need to really take stock on what's going on and what's not.
Okay.
But at the same time, based on what Mills was talking about earlier, technically you could say that a lot of parents have been forcing their children into obesity, because salts, fats, and sugars. I don't know if I want to use the word addiction, but it's very close to getting the children them addicted to these things.
Mm-hmm.
So the salty Cheetos and
Mm-hmm.
the Burger King and fats and all these different things and so on.
And the sodas.
And the sodas, the sugary sodas.
Yeah.
It mess up the taste buds only. So it's as if you have an alcoholic who you're trying to tell stop drink rum, but it's difficult because he or she is now addicted to getting that feeling and don't want to stop. So so just imagine you have a child eating KFC, Burger King, and these other Cheetos and Cheerios for say 5 years.
Oh.
I give it a time period, 5 years, and then suddenly you just try to change that to carrots and lettuce. That's almost impossible to happen.
Yeah. So what you
Because you already know push them into that, and then parents have this competitive nature where if person A child could eat KFC, their child could eat KFC too, and their child could eat Burger King, their child, So this
when
this
I was
competition.
teaching, right, early in the morning, I see children run to the canteen to buy soft drink, sweet drink, and
they get the
Cheetos,
sugar rush. Okay, all right.
So what happened? That's your breakfast?
Because it's borderline addiction, and you find that so these, because if you look around today, I mean, sometimes you see these school children moving down the road, and based on the whole concept of obesity, we have a whole lot of that going on, both boys and girls. And while they're young, it's probably still good enough within their nature that they could exercise and get that dealt with in not too long of a time, as of but have to hit the gym hard, and the youths, they have their body's still young, they could get in shape quickly enough. But the point that Mills made earlier about the genetics, that too play a great role into the whole concept, because some people are genetically predisposed to that kind of fat mass, and the fat mass gene, it simply means then that you have to control your diet. It's like people who are genetically predisposed to hypertension or diabetes and these type of things and so on. Even like men who maybe have like fathers or uncle who had prostate cancers and them things like so on. So they're showing you that we are frequently like genetically predisposed to ailments, right? And therefore, so knowing that you have these things in your family and so on, when you reach a certain age, I don't think that you should roll with ignorance no more. I think you should take it upon yourself to learn about these things, learn more about dieting, and just move into that zone where you take better care of yourself. Now, easy to say, very easy to say, but it's not so easy to do. And then you find there's this trend now that people using locally. It is not true, but it sounds true, that to eat healthy is expensive. It's not true. Because if you go greens in your yard, you go bananas in your yard, you have all these other things, yam and all this in your yard, you don't even have to go buy them. All you have to provide is a pot with water and your seasonings. How expensive would that be, as opposed to go buy a KFC? So it is expensive if you have no intention to make it a reality. It is expensive if you walk out, well, you ain't planting nothing, so you ain't pushing that energy there. So you just stay hitting the KFC and the Burger King and what's not. And then it become expensive to eat healthy, because now you got to go buy the healthy alternatives. Maybe you go buy Judah and buy your food for $40. Or you go in the store, go try buy some healthy flour, some almond meal, it costs like $60 or £2. So if you go to the supermarket, you can't go to the supermarket to decide you're trying to eat healthy. That should start at home.
Okay.
Right? That should start at home. I have eaten meals just out of the yard with greens and onion, and you put in your whatever, and you have a nice tray right there before you. You buy, how much it costs to buy a bag of lentils? Lentils is one of the best, most nutritious thing that you could eat. How expensive it is to eat lentils. Rice, cheap. Well, quinoa kind of expensive if you want to go the route. but we don't. But quinoa is something you could grow in your yard either. So the thing is, it's not expensive to eat healthy. Some people just say it and they psych themselves in a way to feel satisfied that, you know what, it's expensive to eat healthy, so I just continue to eat unhealthy. So it's a form of satisfaction for some people, because if you say it enough, for them it becomes their reality that it is truly expensive to eat healthy. But it's not expensive to eat healthy. I mean, I think three of us are old enough to know that you can actually plant something in your yard.
Yes.
You can plant banana, you can plant, and greens. Look, sometimes you ain't even got to plant greens, they just grow up in your yard. You check? And then,
Sure.
you know, with this thing they call like hack meat. It's like the same thing like callaloo. Very healthy green.
Personally.
And then you got parsley. All these things,
Yep.
these things you don't have to plant in your yard, they just grow up in your yard. I mean, what if you just go down the road and buy a bag of lentils and you're just trying some of these greens and you eat? Compare that now to going to some restaurant, spend $100 and something on dinner. You know how much lentils you could buy with $100 and something? Cause the greens them don't know.
So the greens, you said the greens are in my yard.
I sure you got greens in your yard.
I used to have green. My mother planted green, the green and spinach and stuff.
Right, right.
I don't see. All I see is a lot of.
No, they have a lot of different types of greens. You'll just have to know and probably ask somebody, and then they'll probably there's somebody who know these things. And if you don't know, pick them, go out by agriculture and find out what they are.
Okay.
And then if none of them seem to fit well with you, well, you're in the right place. Just buy some slips.
Okay, you mentioned a lot about. You talk a lot about what we eat and so on. What about the sedentary lifestyle of a lot of people, the young people, the adults? Some persons they return from work after a hard day's work and they just sit down and on the television or the computer and with their phone and they relax and they don't even go for a little stroll,
Yeah.
maybe in the morning or the afternoon. Excuse me.
Well, that's the bad part of it, you know, because at the same time you find that is something that is promoted. That is
Yes.
something that is heavily promoted, and then even drivers like you and I and Mills. And sometimes just to go maybe a few meters away from your home, you jump in your chance and you drive.
Yes.
I do that sometimes. But you could just go for the walk. Okay? But you see, we have created so many bad habits for ourselves, and we have people who are looking at us who just follow those bad habits anyway. Like for instance,
Mhm.
when you finish eat, let's say you eat in the evening time and your latest meal gonna be say 8 p.m. As soon as you finish eating your meal, because we at this kind of age where we have to be concerned about blood sugar spike and all kind of different things,
Mhm.
just go for a walk. Just go for a 15-minute walk. And even if you were supposed to be dealing with a blood sugar spike, that little walk would just ease that down for you. You know,
Yeah.
and it also help with your digestive system once you go for that little walk. So the point I'm making, it costs less. It costs less to eat healthy.
Mhm.
It costs less to adopt a healthy lifestyle. Because walking, just to walk is one of the best exercise that a person can do. Just to walk. You don't have to go lift no weights. Mind lifting weights is good, but the heavy area. Lifting weights good, but I'm just saying, generally, just a little walk sometimes can help with a lot of these things.
We it's a public. Do you consider obesity to be uh a major? I know in our country we have different issues dealing with and so on. Do you consider this one to be a major
Public health
public
issue.
health issue? You know,
It is a major public health issue. However, because the issue could be sensitive to some people, it is not something that is, how to put that, we're not gonna deal with it the way we should.
mhm.
So we just leave people to handle the business, basically. And there's some things like, for instance, I mean, not to go off key, but like food security. Food security should be a national. But the Prime Minister portfolio is again with the national.
Security?
Yeah, a national security issue.
Mhm.
Now, just think about it just for 2 seconds. Food security, meaning people must eat. Compare that to a bomb dropping on the island, killing people, or they ain't got no food to eat, so they die. You understand what I'm
Right,
saying?
right,
So
right.
food security is supposed to be
Right.
that on the same level of priority.
Mhm.
So obesity, on the other hand, now, it's not as sharp as that, but it can lead to a lot of discomfort within the same society because let's say for instance, okay, so we got all kind of little wars going on. Let's suppose that the boats them stop come. If the boats them stop come,
Right.
let's say the boats them stop come for 3 weeks, 3 months. One, we don't have enough food here that we could eat anyway. We got Gideon Farm, of course, we can go up there and eat. And a lot of people have their little backyard garden and so on, which they should be strengthening up and so all this time. Because, and just to show you how we don't care, just to show you how we don't care about certain things. Now, you hear about war going on in the world somewhere.
Mhm.
And you hear about incidents close to your region. But yet there's no real drive to say, well, let me get better into how we eat and
Mhm.
make sure that we have food just in case. We just go about with business daily still, and then when we probably hear, well, you know what, the boat ain't gonna come, so best buy them shelf empty, Rams them shelf empty,
Start to
then
scramble.
people start to panic.
Yeah.
So is it that we don't have the very basic understanding that, you know, maybe if there's a chance that food might be a problem, maybe we should step that game up. Maybe, I mean,
Yep. Yeah. Oil is a problem.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Food is a problem.
but back to the area of the obesity being like a public health issue. It's two things. You go back to how we determine obesity again by whether the doctor telling you your height and your weight is you being obese, or they use the real instruments and so on to let you see for yourself that you're actually obese based on the scale, not this BMI nonsense that they'll be using. If they do that, and so you know you could at least separate that, then to me you could kind of narrow it in a way and deal with it,
Mm-hmm.
you know, better because you're not just bunching like, because if you follow this BMI thing, I would want to think it's not unreasonable to say that more than half of Sankey's people obese.
But that's
If
what-
we
but that's what I
go
said.
with
But that-
BMI,
Yeah, that's based on what? Yeah, based on 60 over 60% of adults.
right? So if you
And
use the
and
BMI scale,
furthermore, they're saying that St. Kitts is number Bahamas is number 1 in adult obesity prevalence, 31.6%. St. Kitts coming in after that, 25 to 30%.
mm,
Antigua and lower end of the regional range.
and all of them dealing with BMI,
Yeah,
something
And-
wrong with us, sir.
and not only that, well, the Caribbean actually, the Caribbean adults are among the most obese globally. They're saying.
Well, we must take them kind of out there. All we
But-
got to do is fix the whole concept of what we consider what obese really is, what it is to be obese.
But you know, you talk about the fruits and the vegetables and so on, and a lot of, I think I like that those kind of talks about Gideon Farm and that kind of thing. Not much emphasis is being placed on that. I've always said that we need to consume more fruits and vegetables, and we can grow them.
Yeah, Blake and man love a lot of fruits and so.
Yeah,
Yeah, we can grow them. Look,
intake more fruits and vegetables.
right.
Fast food.
Almost everything that we eat as far as a food is concerned have seeds. Like one papaya, for instance. Well, let me say pomegranate. A pomegranate, I think, let's say a pomegranate have like 365 seeds around it in every single pomegranate. Which means every single pomegranate could plant fields, a whole field of pomegranate trees. A sugar apple, one sugar apple, the apple, just one sugar apple, could plant nearly a field of sugar apple trees. Now just showing you how weird a species we are. Very, very weird and troubling at some. It's mind-boggling sometimes as to how we are. We have all these food, right? We have all these fruits that have seed that all we have to do is put them in the earth and plant them so that they could become, what they were designed to do, feed us. But you see, the main problem is the commercializing of the fats, the sugars, and the same salts, right?
Yep.
And that play on us. It's a psychology kind of thing. It play on us because it is easy. It's easy to just go down the road, you feel hungry,
Yeah.
and just go to KFC, wait in the line, and you walk out eating your chicken. It's easy. Plus, a lot of these people who are into that business understand how smell go. Understand, they said the Chinese master this. They understand how smell and taste go because it's like there are certain things that when you smell it, depending on what you eat, it basically tug you towards it.
Wow.
So like you're going across the road, let's say you're a chicken eater. You're going across the and KFC door open and you could smell the scent coming out at you. You might not like him to go eat none, but then when you smell that, you find yourself in the line.
So, but when you look at it, you were saying something?
No, you guys are finished.
But, you often said, like on the talk about commercialization and so on, so the doctors and health professionals and teachers, different people, they know better. They say, this is not good for you. But then you send an ad to the radio station or the television promoting the sugary and the salty and the all these things, the chicken, and it look nice, and so come down and come get your chicken, get your KFC and so on. But then knowing better and you still take the ad or do that because they pay money.
Yeah.
They pay a lot of money. Isn't there something wrong with the society to do that? Because it's harmful, if you continue down this trend, this road, eventually they're gonna be serious health implications. But you're sacrificing that because they pay your money to advertise it. I don't know what's going on.
Let me tell you this. There's a fancy way to make stupidity look like something greater. There are these fancy ways now to just say certain things, and stupidity all of a sudden come up as the standard of things. Like I'll give you an example of recent incidents that we had. I guess you heard about this cannabis thing where they're supposed to have this man planting the cannabis, police come locking them up and what's not. Now let me just look at that for a little bit. Now, there's no data anywhere of such that show you that cannabis has killed anyone or has injured anyone or have put anyone in any position as if they're going to die or anything like that. However, it is heavily monitored, policed, and scrutinized, and all kind of thing behind it. Now, let me look at this now. Iron tablets. If children consume iron tablets, they end up in ER. If children consume your washing detergent, they end up in ER. But there's no policing and monitoring these things. You don't have to get a license to go buy detergent to wash your clothes. You understand how I'm just showing you how we are as a people. So the cannabis that have killed no one, have injured no one, is the most dangerous thing because it underdevelop your brain. And here it is. Just to smell and eat certain things would have children with brain development issues. That is okay. Even some of these same things you just hear me mention. It's okay, there's no policing, there's no license to get. So I'm just trying to show you as a people, we are very strange, a strange species. Now, so in the whole idea that there's no data to show that this thing that you have, like you're trying to handle it with care, you're trying to police it and manage it and do all kind of things with it, does nothing, doesn't kill anyone. And the things over here that you let the children there run freely around. Look, I've done some stats research just recently. 350,000 children, they said, die annually from drowning in swimming pool. Wow. Do you hear it anywhere that you have to get a license to have a swimming pool? No? Is it being policed that maybe we shouldn't have swimming pools? But children would drown in swimming pools, and there's nothing hindering or preventing people from having swimming pools. Now the number is higher with children consuming things at home, whether it is the iron tablets or the detergent or something and something, who end up in ER, who end up dead. There's no policing. I'm just giving you the example to show you we offer up stupidity as the standard and the whole moral structure of our societies. And then when it comes to logic and common sense, or even some form of basic education and understanding of things, that now become the new stupidity. Because the real stupidity, which is nonsense, has become the new standard to deal with things. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say. So when it comes to all of this thing about obesity and how we eat and all these different things and so on, it's not something that will ever fix. Because people caught up into their lust and desires and the dopamine reward system that they would get from doing these strange things that they do is often high, because depending on what you eat and so on, you get a rush, almost like you're on crack. You know what? So you just continue to do that because you want that fix, you want that chicken leg. You want the hot dog, you know what I mean? You want the Sprite, the Coke, you want the fix.
All the chicken eaters.
You know what I mean? So, no, I'm not, don't get me wrong, I have no issue with people eating these things. Is the fact that some people seem to be borderline addicted to food. And once you become borderline addicted to food, you now start to serve food as your master, like food now become your God. Yeah, and we have a society that said they believe in God. And if God decide, if tomorrow the same God where they said so come tomorrow, it's not before time, it's like everything is overdue, Everything is overdue. It's like we live in a society that has gotten so weird, right? That I mean, it's like every angle, whether it is in the school, that is now offering the concept of what you call Halloween to our children now, and all kind of pagan things that we used to burn out. We used to burn these things out. Now we're doing all these things, and then we have some wacky this and wacky Monday, all kind of crazy things that have been introduced into the school, except the one good thing, and that is to make sure that the children's education is something that really prepares them for the future, really mold them and prepare them. You know, I mean, how many I've seen students reach the age of 16 and going up there can't read. How did they pass through? And mind you, nothing wrong with them. When I say nothing wrong with them, they have not been tested to say that they're not capable of learning. You understand? But yet the teachers get a pay. You know that go. Teachers ain't get a pay. And then because we have so many teachers, and most of them are female like that, I don't know how hard teaching is. Me ain't know how hard teaching is. Teaching cannot be hard. Because we're all designed to be teachers and we're all designed to be learners. So it's a swap sometimes. You know? Matter of fact, even while you teach, you're learning. So, but making it hard, making it difficult, like I've heard somebody told me the other day that a printer wasn't working. And like the people in the area forget that there's pen and paper. So they just can't go right at the pen and paper, just to register some names.
Yeah.
So they're ready, for them, they're ready to lock down the building and go home because the printer ain't working.
You got your stuff typed up and so on. I wrote it down, you know. I was gonna print it myself.
Well, at least that's good that you're able to still use paper.
No, but I was going to print, but I said, let me, and then I have my phone, and, so
No, mind you, man, I'm not against printing. I into the technology. Of course, I got my printer and everything and so on.
Right.
And I don't like write either. But just trying to show you that people get lazy and people get too comfortable with their pleasures And these things override the priorities, and that is to make sure that those children be educated. I think that the school system need more policing, not just policing like saying you're running behind the teachers them and so on, but I think that there should be ways to measure the outcome of these kind of things. I think that when it comes to the school meal program, I think that even health should be involved in the school. I think they are, maybe I'm not sure, but they should be involved. Well, not health by just the health. The nutritionist people should get involved in these things. If a child is coming out of a home that seem to be obese at a certain age, I think that they need to investigate this home to see exactly what is happening. Is it a genetic situation? If it is genetic, then we have government doctors and nutritionists who could advise these people how to feed their children.
Right.
You know, so I think some more attention and care should be paid to the youths them, because they're the ones who gonna come up and go up into the society 600 pounds when they're 20 something and them kind of things there.
Wow. I don't want to see
And
that.
be uncomfortable even just walking in the road.
Mm.
So why we can't deal
I
with
know.
them things?
I don't want to see that at all. When you jump on when you jump on an airplane, the seat is designed this small, you know, the same size for everybody. They're not having any seat for a 600-pound person.
Have you ever seen somebody? Have you ever seen somebody
First class.
who want to eat? Like they're addicted to food somehow and want to eat, but they can't get what they want to eat. Have you ever seen like children how they behave when they can't get what they want to eat? Not a pretty picture.
No, to the future.
Not a
Well,
pretty picture.
I think we're gonna bring it down. You know, I'll wrap up. But I would like to say that um, this question of obesity, health impacts, it impacts. Sometimes we have deaths and so on because people they didn't control their eating. The blood pressure goes up, the high cholesterol goes up, the um, blood glucose, and you know, they got diabetes and different complications as a result of obesity. And we need to, you spoke about including national nutritional health strategies. You spoke about the health sector, what they can do, and the nutritionists and so on. Implementing, but sometimes the implementation challenges in these things really pose a problem, because it's one thing to say, another thing to do. Yes, we want to ensure that we see an improvement. We want in the lives of our citizens and so on, but then we know better, but sometimes we still deliberately go down the wrong road. So we want to ensure that we, in St. Kitts, we address these problems on the level here in the country. Some people, some regional, other countries in the Caribbean experimenting with soda taxes, school nutrition reforms, public health campaigns, tools that maybe we could here in St. Kitts could adapt to suit our own context. There are things that we can do, but we just have to find the solution that works for us. Member Agar, Member Mills.
To summarize exactly what I said earlier, is that genetics play an important part, and there's nothing at this point for any scientist to regulate the genes so that you can change somebody's predisposition along the way. Now we, as humans, we undergo more than million so-called generation of cells. Some cells are born, some die off. The thing is, within that section that survives, again, if you have that predisposition to be fat or to be bulky, then there's almost nothing you can do.
Mhm.
They you find that even if one of the parents is well, that's, I won't say obese, but let's say gain a little more than normal, um, that person would more generally tend to go along with a child going to KFC or going to the supermarket and buy those starchy and sugar loaded foods. I mean, you look outside almost any school on the island, and the persons was selling there with a tray. I mean, you got to know what they're selling. Ain't nothing healthy.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
kids, when they get out, business or whatever, you know what they're going after. So it's and even at that age, it really puts a lot of pressure on the child. Well, well, I can't even say on the parent, because if the parents is bulky, then they feel a little more comfortable if they, you thought parents tell the child, you need to eat or else you're gonna, whatever they
Yeah,
need
yeah,
to
yeah,
eat, bro.
yeah.
So there's a
Right.
lot of there's a lot of pressure, and
Right,
thing.
right, right.
You look at the staff, the teachers. I mean,
Mm.
quite a bit of them are overweight. You go to the hospital, the nurses, quite a bit of them are overweight. And you feel a little. And I myself, like I said, my doctor is overweight, and it's hard for him to give you a song and dance about losing weight and eating thing, and you look at him and say, okay, do what they do, but not.
I tell you.
So it's and again, coming to the point here, it's about food security. I know that's a big push for the government, and it's, I mean, we have a long way to go.
Hmm.
And as you mentioned again, most people have a backyard, they can do anything. As I myself, I've got about 15 different food trees in my yard.
See?
Nice.
But I got monkeys.
Nice.
Well, that's the next topic.
Well, if they eat what you're supposed to be eating, you ain't getting none of that.
But that's a topic. That's a topic, and
Well,
I ain't even hard to do.
Yeah, I understand that. But so it's a serious situation, and again, the majority of what we need to do is to educate the people who are
Yep.
responsible, and from the parents to the teachers to whoever else is directly involved with students at that young age, and if they don't learn it early,
Mhm.
then we're gonna see a bigger problem
Okay.
in overweight children as they grow up.
Definitely. Thank you, President Mills. Member Agard, your final word?
I just gonna read two scriptures for final word. In Philippians chapter 3, verse 19, it says, their end is destruction, their God is their belly,
Hmm.
and they glory in their shame with the mindset on earthly things.
Hmm.
In 1 Corinthians chapter 6, it said, what? Know ye not that your body is the temple of the Holy Spirit within you, which ye have of God, and ye are not your own? I read these two scriptures because if you really look at the topic here, obesity, that we spoke about earlier, it all come from different variables and so on. But in the end, it leads to a lot of excess. And if you say living that kind of life where the Christian life in the society that we don't talk about, which kind of strange to me, you'll find that people who live in excess, people who eat excess. There's a proverb that says, when you eat honey, just eat enough for you. Don't eat, else you'll vomit out the rest. So when you look at animals, most animals, I keep saying most, I didn't do no stats, but a lot of animals, birds, and so on, when you look at how they eat enough for them. Sometimes, and even babies, there's some parents who keep forcing the babies to eat. The baby gonna eat when the baby need food, but instead of that, they just walk out. It's time. They look at the time. It's time for the baby to eat. So they feed the baby. The baby ain't hungry, but they're feeding the baby. Now, then sometimes the baby develop that kind of habit now, where you just continually eat, because the idea is the mother wanna say she try to look fat and juicy and healthy looking. It's a weird thing. We're in a weird world. We look at some weird ways. We abuse the children them, all in the name of competitive society behavior. You know, you could go KFC. Oh, and do I want to carry his son KFC? When going Burger King tomorrow? Competition. So I would say that there's a scripture that also speak about self-control, and I think that this is something that we are to dive in a little deeper, understand that we are not just we, but as long as we have children and people who look up to us, to teach them that they too are to have self-control, because only once you get to do this. This ain't no video game where you could restart, you know, and take out the city and put it back in, and you come up now with a new body. No, this is the one body you're gonna get, so you may as well just take care of it the best that you can. There's some people who have problems, like Mel talk about those who have genetic issues, and you know that's sad for them, but there's still ways to help them, and so on, and even them too can help themselves too, especially if they know what they're dealing with as far as the family history is concerned.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Member Agard, Melvin, President Mills. I think we've had a wonderful, productive discussion tonight on obesity in St. Kitts. We've come to the conclusion that it's getting out of control. It's a major public health issue, and we need to take steps to ensure that we get on track. We don't want to keep going off course all the time. And I want to leave us with these words. Remember, Agard, you mentioned a lot about eating, so I would just like to say, eat to live, but do not live to eat. Thanks for joining, and have a good one.
Yeah, man. I believe obesity is borderline sin, because
It's borderline.
sin